Hi. I know that was probably loud because I'm like yelling into my microphone. But hi everybody. It's so nice to see you guys. Thank you guys for being here. I already see the most amazing, smartest, most beautiful people in the world are already here. I see Opossum Plays. I see Terra Incognita. Terra Incognita is like my crush, but also like my nemesis. Yeah. Carl Karsnark, Carl Karsnark at this point to me is a celebrity. Guess, Momo, octopus with no friends except for Nettles. Um, yeah, thank you guys for being here. We're gonna have some fun. As you can see, I have Ash next to me. Some of you might recognize him from my last debate stream, but he's back. He's here to redeem himself. All right, Ash, do you want to introduce yourself? No, he doesn't. He doesn't want to introduce himself. Wow. Um, that's funny. Well, while Ash is doing that, let us have a shot to start things off. Because we will be talking about reject Targaryens. Carl Korsnick says he's blushing. I got hit with a wrench last week. When I opened the stream, nobody said anything, so I didn't either. Yeah, I have some newly made mods in the chat. Just people that I like some of you know, when I started off in this fandom, I was a person in the chat. You would have seen me in the chat of Gray Area, Order of the Green Hand, N Deep Geek, Radio Westeros, History of Westeros. Of course, David Lightbringer's channel. I was always in the chat in there. Quinn, everybody. So that's where I made friends. But I was always jealous of the people with the wrenches, with the blue wrench, the mods, because of the color blue, it like popped up. Uh, it popped up more. So whatever they were commenting was always seen first, either by whatever YouTube or people in the chat, and they'd like respond to them. And like I would say stuff and people would ignore me. So I'm like, I wish I had the blue wrench. So now that I've got the power, I look for people who have very funny things to say, people who are super smart, and I give them that blue wrench so that their comments pop up more. But also, you guys have power too. You can, I think you can boot people from the live stream, and you can certainly delete their comments. If anyone is saying something you don't like, you have the ability to delete their comment. Whoa, Ash. Okay, whoa. Ash is back. I guess he changed his mind about me. And decided to be in this live stream. Would you please introduce yourself? Let everyone know who you are. Um, Maybe share like some of your takes on A Song of Ice and Fire stuff. Maybe stuff that people would agree with or stuff that they disagree with. But go ahead.
Absolutely. I must apologize for the connection first of all. I'm sorry about that. We
We're
went
we're
live and then my
and
phone.
we're. I know it's because I don't know how technology works, but I think it's different. Like when it's just me and you, I think it's only our two connections. But then like now it's like me, you, and YouTube, and every single person in the chat or something. I don't know. So I think,
Yeah,
yeah.
my little man on his wheel is, it's getting more and more thing. But no, my name's Ash. I'm just a big fan of A Song of Ice and Fire. Been a fan for a long, long time. The more some of you might remember me from last week's the little glimpse on the stream that I was on last week, which I loved the whole stream. I thought it was great. Today, me and Nettles are going to be talking about something that's a tiny bit more niche, which is the Targaryens. Which,
Ash, you're a bit quiet. Can you be louder?
yeah, sure. Hold on.
I can hear you fine, but Carl
How's that?
Karsnarks says I can also. Let me see. Oh, I can't. Why can't I? Hmm.
Is that better?
I'm gonna adjust your mic on my end. Okay, now
Sure.
test it. I just did it. I put it on max volume.
How's that? How's that, guys? Chat. Does that sound better?
You guys can hear me though, right? I'll wait till. Hmm. Carl says perfect. All right, keep going.
Excellent. So, if it's okay, I'll just talk a bit louder, and hopefully, and I'm not bothering your ears, Nettles. No.
Mm-mm.
Excellent. Um, so we're going to be talking about Targaryen rejects today. It's difficult pinning down a universal definition of what is a Targaryen reject. So we should specify it's a Targaryen who either rejects or is rejected by Targaryen culture. And there are some
Yeah,
obvious examples. There are some
yeah.
obvious examples like Aenar the Exile, and where it's literally in their name, in their name that they've been either exiled or rejected. And we're going to be doing,
Legally,
yeah, yeah, we're going to be
legal
doing some,
reject.
yeah, absolutely. So we'll be specifying, in order to make the list, you do need to be a Targaryen, and you do need to exhibit either rejection or reject your own culture. I've got a bunch of names. Nettles has a bunch of names. We're going to just talk about them, and then I'm going to offer them to Nettles to rate them out of 10 on the rejection scale, which is an actual
Mm.
scale I had in university. I was known as the reject. So
The rejection scale. I want to add more to the definition. For me, I have yes, you gotta have that last name. You gotta hey, you gotta be the official ones. Um, someone who's not well liked, someone who doesn't embody the tenets of House Targaryen. All of Jaehaerys's kids, for me. How you have 13 kids and none of them could sit the throne? Huh? Sorry. Yeah. So obviously you guys know my personality. Mine are gonna be a little bit more on like the silly side, but yeah, fuck Jaehaerys. I know y'all love him, but nah. Fuck Jaehaerys. Why? And then why did he let the damn gray rats poison his kids? Everybody died a mysterious death.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Jaehaerys's penis seeds, there are automatically rejects, but we know there were some good ones out there. Um, I want to say any Targaryen without a dragon, but that's more like tongue in cheek. But and then anyone who fought on Prince Aeron's side during the dunk, trial by 7, like shut up, man. Like, what are you guys? Y'all stupid bitches. You guys killed the king, like
Well,
fucking around.
yeah,
Y'all are
yeah.
rejected.
You make a great point about Jaehaerys's kids, because we could argue that the seeds for the Dance of the Dragons were planted around the time of Jaehaerys's kids. Certainly with Vaegon, and we'll get to Vaegon a bit later, but certainly that time, about 30 to 40 years before the dance.
Literally, if any of his 13 kids would have sat the throne, we wouldn't have had the dance.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
But all right, let's get started. So first up, we have giving you time to say it to say the Targaryen.
Well, I don't think you can think about Targaryen rejects without thinking about Vaegon the Dragonless.
Mm.
Um, this was quite a piece of work, even in his teens. He was born in 63 AC. Now he was the seventh child of Jaehaerys, and to your point, Jaehaerys did not stop having kids. I mean, good lord, what was it, like 13 he had or something? It was crazy. Um, Vaegon is described in Fire and Blood as quiet and weary and with a sour cast to his mouth. So he sounds like, quite the ball. Um, I wrote down here he sounds like Patrick Bateman, but I don't think that's true. He was the fourth son of Jaehaerys, and they didn't have the strongest bond because when Vaegon spoke, it's written in Fire and Blood that he was often blunt but very rarely cruel, which goes to you know, Vaegon's inability to be around too many other people. Something very interesting about him, though, is he's described as the Dragonless. Now, Jaehaerys had 13 kids. Only 3 of them were dragon riders: Alyssa, Balon, and Aemon. So,
Yep. I was
Va-
just about to say that. Go ahead. Yeah. I'm
so
with you.
Vaegon being Yeah, Vaegon being called the Dragonless is a bit interesting. Now, I'd later learned he was perhaps the first Targaryen not to have a dragon, but then I thought Viserys, Aenys' kid, also didn't have a dragon. But the point being that in these 13 kids, the majority of them didn't ride dragons. So calling him the Dragonless is a bit cruel, I thought. He's very clearly subject of bullying from young. Hello? Hello? Hold on. I can't hear you. Hold on. Sorry about this. Remote.
Oh my gosh. I was talking for so long. You guys can hear me now, though, right? That was horrible. Did you guys hear me? At least wrenches, we have failed. Did you guys at least hear me shouting out your comments? All right, cool.
Hello? Hello?
Can't hear you.
Can't hear me. Oh, shit.
I can hear you, but it sounds very staticky.
Oh, what? Oh, bear with me. Bear with me.
Okay. I would not mess with those headphones. No Bluetooth. I think it'll mess it up.
Yeah. Yeah, good point.
We have David Lightbringer in the chat.
I'm so
Hey.
sorry about
Yeah. It's okay. Don't worry. There's a solution to everything.
Is that better?
I'm It's still not. It just sounds like a robot.
I'm
Mm.
sorry. You sure you can't hear me at all?
I can hear you, but it sounds really bad. Like not can't continue if it sounds like that. Could you turn everything on and off again?
Yeah, you know what I'll do? I'll restart my router, okay? So, but I'll be back in about a minute and a half.
Yeah, cool. All right. Anyways, I turned the sensitivity down. Is that good? May my wrench travel the night lamps free. Opossum plays. Sound like a broken C3PO. Cool. Did you guys at least hear me when I was talking about just shouting you guys out in the chat? Right now, we're doing for any new people. Right now, we're on Vaegon the Dragonless, talking about reject Targaryens. He's number one because, like we've pointed out in the chat, that being named the Dragonless is a big insult, but it's like kind of like a inside joke insult among the Targaryens. It's basically saying like you have no manhood, and like I was saying, it's saying like you don't have no weapons of mass destruction. Ew, you can't sit with us. So especially because, as Ash pointed out, Jaehaerys had 13 kids, only 3 of them were dragon riders. So it's like he wasn't the only one without a dragon. So I feel like either he did something like maybe he was like similar to in the show House of the Dragon, how we see Aemon have that incident with like the pig. Um, Maybe something similar happened to him. Like he had some very embarrassing moment with a dragon. Like he's maybe the first time he saw one, he like peed his pants or something. I don't know. Um, it would have to be something more than just an aversion to dragons that would earn him that name. So like his own blood rejected him. Like his own Targaryen blood rejected him and like, nah, you're just not gonna like dragons. Um, I want to see what you guys are saying in the chat. His name is Vaegon, like Ivar the Boneless. Show us on the dragon doll. What does that mean, Possum Plays? Show us on the dragon doll. You guys want to see my stuff? The stuff that's behind me and on my shoulder? Is that what you mean? A Possum Plays? Show and tell. Where the trauma happened. Show us on the dragon doll where the trauma happened. I'm not even gonna make that joke. I caught myself. I'm doing so much better. I'm proud of myself. I caught myself. Yeah. Hi, Cody Lackney. All right, so this is Baby Sheep Stealer. Hold on, I'm doing show and tell because they want to see my stuff. This is Baby Sheep Stealer. One night, me and Sheep Stealer got kind of drunk, and we fucked. And I had me a little egg. I pushed an egg out of my cooter. I thought I was drunk when that was happening. Like this is not happening. But it did. And a couple months later, the egg hatched, and it was baby sheep stealer. So if you get drunk, you could also go on Amazon and get a baby sheep stealer. It comes with like this nice armband for like $15. Look at how good this is $15. 15 doll hairs. Okay. So let me just take it off. Long tail. So it sits nice on my back and it kind of moves a little bit so it'll form to your back. This is good stuff. I got it for the first time I went to con. And then I was in a play or a musical over the summer, and like I bonded with like this little girl. I called her my mentor because she was like a mini me in the show. And I had my birthday during the run of the show, so she knows about my obsession. And she made this or got this. Like she said, I was looking for a stuffed animal dragon, and that didn't exist wherever she was. I think she was at Michael's or something. So she had the bright idea of just grab a dinosaur and then they had these little wings. See how the wings are attached? Um, and so she made it and gave it to me, and I just love that it's like more like a creative dragon. So yeah. And then I have um of course I've told everyone in my life for all my gifts forever until the end of time, Christmas, birthday, whatever I want, Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire stuff. So I was gifted the beautiful HBO replica of Arya's dagger. I love it. It's so sharp, it's so heavy, it is so big. Um yeah, and then I have, let me see how far I can turn this. Then I have up there replica of Longclaw, and it comes with that plaque, and it says the entire Night's Watch vow. Um, I love them. They're sharp, they're heavy, so when the zombie apocalypse comes, I'm ready. I am so ready. A condom is 99 cents at Possum Place. We don't have that in the Vale. We don't have that. You know what they say about a dragon with a long tail, right? All right. Breaks over. Back to Vaegon.
I am so sorry, darling. Can you hear me okay now?
I can hear you, but now there's like this buzz in the background. How does it how is the chat hearing it? It's gone now. Now there it is. It's not enough to bother me, but what does it sound like in the chat? Well, can you talk like just say the ABCs?
A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P Q
Okay, it's
R.
probably good. A possum play says that's good. Talk again. They want you to talk again.
I'm really sorry about the connection, guys.
It's okay. I mean, we literally have the Atlantic Ocean in between us. Like, it's amazing that we could even do this.
You know what? Honestly, I tried everything all week. Like I said, I called
I
my internet.
know.
Like, I don't know what to do. I'm really sorry. But
Guest says I. It's a little quiet, but I say we go for it.
what I'll do is, if it kicks off again, I'll just restart, come back. Are you okay? You see, if we're talking about Vaegon or Saera or something, if I do click out, are you okay to keep talking about them until I get back?
Yeah, I'll just read your notes. I'm
Okay.
turning your mic. I'm turning your mic volume higher because they're saying you're quiet.
I'll move a bit closer as well. How's that? Is that better? Guys, can you hear me better now?
Yeah, thanks, Cody. That's what I just did. I adjusted it louder.
Excellent. I do have headphones, but I put them in and then it dies. So
Everybody's saying that's better. Yeah, the only headphones I think would be good is like the plugged in ones.
yeah, yeah. This is the thing. If I am gonna go forward with the YouTube thing, I'm gonna need to get like a laptop, proper phone, the whole work. Do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
um,
Carl Karsnack says, "Is the mic on your phone covered by any chance?" It may be that simple.
let's see. Hold on. Oh my god, Jesus.
Or is it on something that's
That's what.
causing feed? Do you have another electronic nearby that might cause feedback? It's
Uh,
good now. Everyone's saying
yeah, that okay. I was gonna. How does it sound now? How's that?
sounds good.
That's good. All right. Well, I'll continue. If anything happens, you'll let me know. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, I was reading the chat. All right, back
That's
to Vagon.
okay. So where I was up to was that Vaegon was not. He's described in Fire and Blood as not well liked, and I found that interesting because there aren't that many examples of him doing horrible things when he's a kid. But I'm very aware of the fact he had so many siblings, and he's described as being really clever, not liking his own space. Apparently, he was given a book of certain lascivious drawings and so on by the Maester, and he didn't change apparently Vaegon, but he kept the book, which is most teenage boys will do that. Where the story picks up with Vaegon a bit is in 78 AC. He gets sent to Old Town by his dad, and here's where the definition of reject gets a little bit stretched, because he's not necessarily rejected by the family, nor does he necessarily reject them, but he does go to Old Town. Apparently, it's the only time he smiles, similar to Tywin Lannister. He only smiled when he got told that he's going to Old Town. And he goes, then something very interesting happens. Time goes by, we don't hear from Vaegon really after that until around 101 AC. Now, in that year, I'm sure most of the viewers will know, Balon dies, the Hand of the King dies, Jaehaerys' son, who was the heir, dies after Aemon dies in suspicious circumstances as well. Then Vaegon visits Jaehaerys. Then Otto Hightower gets named as Hand, and then the Great Council of 101 happens, all in the same year, and all just after Balon dies. Vaegon visits Jaehaerys. I always wondered where Otto Hightower's name. How did Otto Hightower become the Hand? I never really understood that. And then I realised that Vaegon was in Old Town and had been it since 78 AC. He was probably chilling with the Maesters and the Hightowers. You know what I mean? And I think that was where the series.
Sorry. What do you let's go ahead and try to get canceled early on. What do you think is Vaegon's sexuality?
Oh boy, I see what you mean about
And
getting
the reason
cancelled.
I'm asking, yeah, I'm trying to listen. Let's end this here. Um, the reason I'm asking is like I'm making up stories in my head about Vaegon going to Old Town and falling in love with a young Otto Hightower. Because, and the only reason I'm thinking about this is nothing from the text, it's just Otto from the show. He
Yeah.
presents us because lords can remarry when their wives die. Sorry, childbirth be taking my sisters out, okay? The girls were dying. So, and they were remarrying, everyone else did. Like, so Otto never remarried, and he doesn't seem to live as a person who was mourning his wife either.
Yeah.
Viserys mourned his wife his entire life. Like, I mentioned this yesterday, but um Viserys is like an example of someone who truly loved it. Even when he was like fucking Alicent, everyone felt sorry for Alicent. Like, oh, look at her, she has to endure. He wasn't enjoying it. I'm sure he had to picture Emma to even make Buddy stand up. Okay, so like, um, he's someone who mourned his wife his entire life. Otto, no. Otto seems as someone who had a wife out of duty, had the kids required, and then he was done with that. And it could have been asexuality or it could be homosexuality with Vaegon.
Yes. To answer, that's a great series of points, I must say. I have a friend who's watching this stream right now. So maybe she could say in the chat if what I'm about to say is okay, because I don't know completely. She will Google Vaegon the Dragonless, and she is autistic. And she's, if she, whew, if she Googled Vaegon, she'd probably say he's autistic. You know where I'm going with this. He may be asexual. He may not have. It's very plausible that him and Otto were going to Pound Town. I'm not gonna lie. It's very possible. Like a young Ares and a young Tywin. It's very possible.
Listen, a second son has got to do what a second son got to do.
Yeah, he's got to make his own fun. But I'd put money on Vaegon not really having any interest in sex. I'm borderline asexual myself. And like I said, my friend who's watching the stream can chat and let me know if what I just said is okay about him being autistic. But it's very possible that that's, what he was. Anyway, so in 101 AC, those circumstances that I just outlined all happened. Now, I don't believe that's a coincidence. I think Vaegon getting bullied by his family and essentially being the first Targaryen reject, I think that added in to what ultimately happened with the Great Council of 101. It says in Fire and Blood that Vaegon's the one who suggested the Great Council. That's incredibly plausible when you have Viserys, as you were just saying, who is a very meek, very flexible, possible king with a very sickly wife who'd be very easy to manipulate. And then you've got Rhaenys, a headstrong dragon rider with the most wealthy man in the world as her husband. If you're the Maesters, if you're the Hightowers, you want the flexible king to get in so that Otto Hightower can go to work, and that's exactly what happened, in my opinion. That's why that Vaegon Dragonless was the for yourself, Nettles. Where do you place Vaegon on the scale of Targaryen rejects?
Well, if one is a giant ice cube sitting on the floor in Antarctica, if that's one, and if 10 is Balerion's farts, I will say that I am at a 10. He's a 10. I feel like this is a great start because he's like the epitome of Targaryen reject. Oh my gosh. Yes, yeah, the Maesters are not happy with Ash. Let's see what we've been saying. So you guys think that Vaegon is spectrum adjacent, Carl Karsnark. Vaegon was a Maester mole. He could help the Maesters poison the eggs, prevent births, mayhaps. Maybe he was taking out his own siblings. That's such a blood betrayal. Blood betrayal. Like, ugh. He died of autoerotic asphyxiation, I bet. Oh my gosh. Balon is a high tower turncoat. What does that mean? Balon is a high tower turncoat cloak. Did any other families have prophecies besides Targaryens? Opossum plays. Um, I guess Starks. I mean, maybe some of these house words or things are prophecies or something. I mean, there must always be a Stark in Winterfell to me reads like a prophecy. Um, but yeah, I don't know.
Was the question just about prophecy and anyone who isn't Targaryen?
Oh no, it sounds bad again.
That sounds bad. Hold on. I'll
Mm-hmm.
reset my reader. 2 seconds.
Okay. Alex B says there are conflicting accounts, but some suggest Vaegon was a potential heir candidate after Balon's death. 10 seems a bit harsh. He was only an heir because he had a dick. Like he wasn't considered because he was worthy or people liked him or anything like that. You could be rejected and now how many times has your family said some stupid crazy shit to you and then like time goes by and they're like, "Nah, nah, nah, nah. Hello, I'm sorry. Can you please do this and this and this for me?" Like, no. You could be rejected and still be used. And he was also an afterthought. It was like, oh yeah, Vaegon's in Old Town. Let's uh let's see if he wants to be king. It wasn't like it was after they considered everyone else. Everyone else. So Alex, it's a 10 for me. What do you give it? Oh my gosh. Alex is a Vagon lover. What's going on? He was also competent though. No, yeah. We're gonna have to be harsh to be calling them rejects. So I may exaggerate a bit, but like I said, uh I feel like Vagon is like the epitome of a reject because he's called the dragonless out of all of them. So I had to come out the gate with that 10. Um Maybe I won't have any other 10s after this. Let's go through. So after Vagon, we'll start on mine. I have Visenya. I have Visenya as a Targaryen reject. Now, these rejects, it's not necessarily my definition. You guys know I love a Visenya, okay? Visenya, okay? I love her son, Maegor. So they're kind of in the same boat. I put them as rejects because obviously public opinion, the public rejected them, the faith of the seven rejected them. People lobbied and did protests because of them. Nobody liked them. So, although they embody what House Targaryen represents, which is fire and blood and might, I because of like I said, public opinion, they have to be on the reject list. Now, I went ahead to mine. So I'm doing Visenya and by proxy Maegor because he came out of her vagina. So like I said, like usually kings for me also kings usually wouldn't be rejects because it's like, well, they sat the throne. Like, at some point, like we have to, even if we didn't like them, even if they were popular, whatever. So kings usually wouldn't be rejects, but I don't know. I just make the case for this one because not only was public opinion unfavorable towards them, both Visenya and Maegor, but their line died. Like their specific line died. Like um Maegor didn't have any kids. So it's like the whole point in living forever is having kids that have kids that have kids that have kids so that even 10,000 years down the line, like your mitochondria is alive somewhere. Um, so yeah, I just can't deny that rejection. So yeah, those were mine, Visenya and Maegor. Maegor the misunderstood. Yeah, I call him Maegor the cool, the hardest rejection, a Darwin Award. It says rejects is a badge of honor to the cool king. It's Possum Place says.
The,
Um,
the throne certainly rejected Maegor and Visenya. The throne certainly rejected them.
yeah. All right. Did you have anything else to say about Vagon?
No, that was pretty much it. Although something that's annoying just for any viewers, um, every time my connection breaks down, there's a little thing that comes up says move your device closer to your router, and my router's about a foot from me. So that's a little context. But no, Vagon, Maegor, and Visenya, and my next one is Saera. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Well, whenever you're ready, I'll do Saera.
Go ahead.
Okay. Do you like Jaffa cakes at all? I love Jaffa
What?
cakes. You know Jaffa cakes?
No, we eat real food in the United States. Yeah, I don't. I do not trust no food from no dang UK. Y'all eat beans. Y'all be eating beans.
Well, we can't figure out if Jaffa cakes are cakes or biscuits, so that's a fair point.
They're definitely not biscuits. You
So,
can call them smush cakes.
shakes.
Oh, a possum place says that they have those, but no one buys them.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. So interestingly, you made a great point when we first started about Jaehaerys' kids and how many of them are either rejects or reject the throne. Another one of Viserys' kids is Saera Targaryen. Um, she was born in 67 AC, so a bit younger than Vaegon. And interestingly, she's described as being just as clever as Vaegon in her own way. It's described, which is interesting because it sets up a bit of a rivalry between the two Targaryens. Um, and that that adds into that whole realm of kids. There was a real load of problems there. She was a younger sister, interestingly described. Hold on, Jane Alyssane. I say here, Jaehaerys and Alyssane could not stop having kids, and I make a very vulgar joke about Alyssane actually being called behind the Alyssane. Now, out of 13 births, she only had 9 that made it to adulthood. Interestingly, a big difference between Vaegon and Saera is Saera wasn't a victim, ever, really. She was very headstrong, very extroverted, very confident. And the issue that ends up happening with Saera is she's described very young, that's what I was going to say, as being very demanding. Even at 2, 3, 4 years old, apparently her first word was no, and she was compared unfavorably to Aerea Targaryen, and we all know what happened with Aerea very sadly. But Saera didn't claim a dragon, didn't fly away, none of that happens. She does, however, grow into a teenager and goes from becoming a girl to a young woman. And that's around age 12 in Westeros. So, she starts developing. She gets to about age 15, 16, 17. And then this issue happens with Lords Moulton, Connington, and Beesbury. and she starts being quite a little devil child. And even though Jaehaerys has all these kids and he very clearly, gets busy, he doesn't like it when his daughters do, particularly with several men, and that ends up being what happens with Saera. There's a very cool thing that Jaehaerys does. Well, I don't know about cool, but there's something interesting that happens when these three men, Lords Moot, Connington, and Beesbury, are caught. Jaehaerys steps in with Beesbury and essentially fights him to the death, even though Jaehaerys was nearly 50 and Beesbury was like 19 or something. So I always thought that was quite cool. But what ended up happening, and one of the reasons why Sarah's being named on this list, is she ultimately is rejected by her own family and rejects her own family because she's sent to Old Town to take part with the Silent Sisters after the issue with the three men, all of whom she sleeps with. By the way, she's a little hussy for a little bit there. Gets sent to Old Town, and then what ends up happening? I wrote down the year here. 85. She escapes, and she goes all the way to exhibit a skill or institution. That, as we said earlier, very smart, very capable, like Vaegon, but also very practical. And she sets up her own. She takes part in as being a whore in a whorehouse for a while. She ultimately runs her own place, and eventually leaves Lys for Volantis in 99 AC. Now, interestingly, she could still be alive at the time of the Dance of the Dragons. In 101 AC, a few of her kids go to the Great Council and try and make a claim, but that's never going to happen. I just found it interesting that Saera herself doesn't show up. She's very clearly rejected the throne. And as you made a great point with Maegor and Visenya, how the throne essentially rejects them. Well, with Saera, she very clearly washes her hands of the whole thing, and she says, I have my own kingdom here in Volantis. Why would I want a kingdom there? So have you got any thoughts on Saera Targaryen, Nettles?
Saera out of rejected Targaryens, yeah. I mean, I personally, I like her. Of course, we love a little, you know. During my life and times, I've known so many different types of people. I know people from all different walks of life, like everyone. But the loose girls were always my favorite. You know, the strippers, the best archetypes of femininity that we have. No, I'm just kidding. We have a lot of nice archetypes of femininity. But what I mean to say is usually the loose girls are more accepting. They give great fashion advice. And yeah, just being accepting is to me the most important part of like a good friend or a good partner or what makes a good person. Like they're not phased by stuff. They're not going to be clutching their pearls. So just that alone makes me like her. But we're not talking about who we like. We're talking about reject Targaryens. And I feel like she's the type of person that, well, her actions we're talking about medieval times here. We're not talking about 2024. So she embarrassed her parents. She embarrassed the line. It was like she was probably the example that men used when they were scaring their daughters. Like, oh, you better, act up or you're going to end up like Saera, or I don't want someone like Saera. Like, so, we're talking about public perception and, yeah, she's a reject. I would put her, uh, I'll put her as a 7 on the scale.
Excellent. I think that's a great point. I
Oh
I
no, it's
think I
doing it
agree
again.
with you. She
Oh,
was. You could.
wait. All of a sudden, you're like a robot again. All of a sudden, she's saying, "I'm every woman, and everyone in Volantis danced." Opossum Plays says she was the smartest Targ. Can you elaborate? What do you mean? Hi, Kirsty Angel. Just wanted to say hi. Cigarettes and whiskey and wild, wild women. Those are lyrics to a song that I don't know. All right. So next, I have every single Targaryen that became a septa or is described as a septa. Like, shut the fuck up. Y'all don't even pretend this fake religion, this stupid fake religion of the seven. Like, y'all better not follow it. So yeah, shut the fuck up. So who am I talking about? I'm talking about Septa Maegelle, one of Jaehaerys' kids. Septa Maegelle is so annoying because I'm just imagining, like, imagine growing up in a castle where you're with 13 kids. We know some of them died in the cradle, but I'm still gonna say 13. Imagine running around the castle with 13 kids and you guys are trying to have fun, and who's there to womp womp womp? It's Maegelle. Oh, don't run too fast. Remember what daddy said? Remember what mommy said? Like, no, like everyone's gonna reject you if this is the type of person you are. So based on personality, like, shut up, get out of here. I hate people who uh, throw their religion in your face. And that's Maegelle. Some of you might say, but she was cool because remember she helped Alicent settle a quarrel. Oh, don't you remember when she did this and this and that? I do remember, and I don't care about it. You didn't have a dragon. You wasted my time, Maegelle. Like, you could have at least made up for being a Septa by having a dragon. Imagine a Septa on a dragon. All right, guys, time to pray. Like, just a burst. Everyone, bow your heads. I said, bow your heads. And then, like, a burst of fire. I stepped it with the dragon. That would have been badass. But no, Maegelle didn't give us that. And here's another reason why she's rejected. Targaryens aren't supposed to die from disease. The fire inside them is supposed to burn away any microbes or whatever. This bitch died of grayscale. Now we know grayscale is a magical disease. If there is a disease that would be able to kill a Targaryen, it would be a magical disease. But, and I mean magical because grayscale came from a curse. But I mean, this hoe was nursing sick children that had grayscale. Who told you to do that? Who told you to nurse kids with grayscale? Why are you nursing them? We saw in the show, what was it, season 7? We saw what they did with the people in grayscale. They were in cells. We'll give you food, we'll take care of you, but it's going to be at a distance. What's Maegelle doing? Taking out her titty, putting in the mouths of children with grayscale. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? So, anyone who's written about so nicely, it makes me think that it's a front. It has to be a lie. You can't open a history book and read about any person who's ever existed that's lived a perfect life. So if it says that, it's propaganda. That's just how I see things. So I'm like, who's covering it up? Is it your little boyfriends, the maesters? Are they writing nice things about you while you were sucking them off, Maegelle? Hmm? Tell me what it is. But anyways, yeah, it's a weak way to die. A Targaryen should die in a poetic way or in a grandiose way or like in battle. Not because you wanted to feel like a mother, so you stuck your titty in a kid's mouth. Uh, let's see where we at now. You guys are saying the flying nun. I had moved on. My pick was Septa Maegelle, and I was talking about. I specifically talked about her, but I had to include like I mean anybody who becomes a Septa, any Targaryen who becomes a Septa, you're on the reject list because what the fuck, that fake ass religion. And then I was saying like Maegelle would have been cool if she had a dragon, because imagine a Septa on a dragon.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
um but yeah, pretty much fit. Oh, I think it's doing it again. But
Right, doing the robot thing. Hold on.
yeah. Maybe it's because you're too close to the router, even though it says get closer.
Ah,
Because it sounds like, or like maybe mess around with like your mic. Sometimes you have to like clean it with like a toothpick or something. I don't know. It's weird because it was fine, so maybe it's not that.
I do think it's a connection thing, but you know, can you
You
hear?
think it's a
So
connection
how
thing?
do I sound now?
Kirsty says, "Are you touching wires?"
Uh, no. Um, if you give me 2 secs, I'll do it one more time. All right, I'll be right back. Sorry about this.
No, it's okay. Um, Static. Yeah, we're all our techie people. If you guys have any advice for us, that would be great. Anyways, so yeah, Septa Maegelle. I hope, yeah. I was about to say I hope I'm saying it right, but I could say it any way I want to because George tells us we can say it however we want to. But let me see. I see that someone dropped some wisdom. Maegelle, spelled Majel, is a reference to Maegelle Barrett Roddenberry, wife of Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry. She was Deanne Troy's mother on TNG and the voice of the computer as well. Really? Cool. You should reboot your Pin My Fixer, wrap your phone in a bounce sheet. Is that a real thing for him to wrap his phone? Do you think they have bounce sheets in the UK? That's like the old country. They barely have running water. It's a third world country. Maegelle is a pretty specific, and I'm sure George R. R. Martin knows his Star Trek TNG stuff. Maegelle. A possum plays pronounces it Maegelle. I know it's a fabric softener sheet. A possum place says to wrap your phone in a fabric softener sheet.
Okay. How do I sound?
It still sounds staticky.
That sounds stacky.
Mm-mm. Cody Lackney would love to join you on one of these. Do you have a Twitter, Cody? I'm looking for contestants to be on my upcoming debates. That's pretty much why I didn't have it this week is because I need people to fill the slots. But uh, find me on Twitter, the girl Nettles, and DM me, and I can show you the schedule of the upcoming debates. I would love to have you on there. But thank you for saying that you love my content. Still a robot. Yeah, I know, Terra Incognita. Oh my gosh. Oh, well, I'm gonna have him come back on and just do audio.
Hello?
Yeah. Can you just try to just do audio? It's still staticky.
Still
Wait,
stacky.
yeah. Could you come on it like just turn your camera off?
How's that?
It still sounds staticky. I'm thinking maybe um do you mind uh leaving the stream, coming back on, but don't come on with your camera at all. I'm just hoping that maybe just audio will use less internet.
Yes, that's a good shout. What I'll do is I'll leave. If you're okay to please do the next one, I'll just reset my router, give my phone a bit of time to cool down as well, and then I'll
Oh,
do.
okay.
All right. Sorry, darling.
Cool, cool.
Thank you.
It's okay. I might turn off my camera too to see if it'll help. Tell him to reboot his system. He's using a phone, Kirsty, but he said it was getting hot, and so I know that. Oh wow, Cody's saying he doesn't think it'll get better. Yeah, it's a shame because he's so handsome. That's what a possum place said. What a shame. Have you guys ever heard of Rhaelle Targaryen? Raegel, Regel Targaryen. Um, I have him here as a reject because he died choking on lamprey pie. Like, you already know Nettles is gonna give you a reject. Uh, if your death is dishonorable or weird, you're gonna be a reject because my man Damon, he died jumping from a dragon and plunging it into his enemy's eye. Okay, that's my standard. That's the shit I'm used to. Like, if I'm used to filet mignon, don't give me no McDonald's. So I need the filet mignon of deaths. Okay, choking on lamprey pie, it's not gonna, it's not gonna work. Now, Rhaelle was, so you know how Maegor is the fourth son, and then his fourth son is Egg. Well, Maegor was the first fourth son, but the third son in that line is Rhaelle. Does that make sense? What sounds super soft? Kirsty says it might be earphones. Kirsty, he had Bluetooth earphones and it was bad. Yeah, listen to Carl. But anyways, back on my rant about Rhaelle Targaryen. So that's another thing. It's like anybody who was supposed to be king and then fucked it up by dying, like you're a reject because the whole point of Targaryens is to sit the throne because that's what the fuck Aegon came to Westeros for. That's why he united the realm. That's why, and he united the realm for what? To face the White Walkers. So your job as a Targaryen is not only to have fire breathing dragons, it's also to be a fucking king. And he couldn't do that. He died. Now, which made Maegor king. And the fact that Maegor was king put his stupid kids in line, and that's how we got to like the present storyline. So yes, a possum place. That's what I'm trying to say. I need you here. He was rejected by fate. So that's why he's a Targaryen reject. Now, he did have kids, okay? So now his kids got in line. And now, as you know, them kids was going to die too. But his daughter, Aelora, she's a reject, according to me, because she was married to her twin brother and she killed him on accident and then became depressed about it. Bitch, own up to what you did. Don't go retreating into being, oh, I'm depressed because I accidentally killed my brother, my twin brother. Um, so it's like, first of all, it doesn't say what the accident was, which whenever the text doesn't say what it is, I always go to like the harshest, most craziest thing because that's just what my brain goes to. Um, so here she accidentally kills her twin brother husband. She sinks into a depression. And then she commits suicide. Now, the reason she commits suicide is because of the incident of the rat, the hog, and the rat, the hawk, not hog, the rat, the hawk, and the pig. And this is all veiled in mystery, but apparently they attacked her at a masked ball. And so because of that, she killed herself. So does suicide sound like a Targaryen trait? It sounds like a Tommen Baratheon trait. You know, people who are like, nah, I can't do this. You know, like that's not a Targaryen trait. Targaryens, yes, they have a lot of flaws, but one thing is they're bold with it. They live their life boldly. So so yeah, let me see. Here's Ash. Let's see.
How do I sound?
Okay, we
Oh,
got
thank.
it.
Okay, I'm gonna move. I'm gonna move you over here. Please let me know if it goes again. Okay.
Okay. So I'm talking about Rhaelle and his kids, Aelora. So once again, Rhaelle dying. It wasn't that bad. I put him as a reject because he died and passed the throne to Maekar. And I didn't want Maekar to ever get the throne because that's like Stannis having the throne. Nobody wanted that.
Yeah.
But praise God. Um, but then his kids, died too. And well, Rhaelle died choking on lamprey pie. Not a good way to go. And then Aelora accidentally kills her twin brother husband. And then she's so upset about it, she kills herself. That doesn't sound very Targaryen. So they're rejects. But yeah, I know that you were. Did you have anything else to say about Sarah to
No,
close
no,
off?
I was very quickly going to move on to the next one for me. What seems to be
Yeah.
happening, I get my one out and then it goes. So it's
Maybe it's
not,
on a time thing. Yeah.
yeah, it's not that bad because I get to get my point out, then the internet dies, and then while it's dead, while mine's dead, you can get yours out and then I can reconnect, which I'm really sorry. I know that's not great. I do apologize. But I can
And I
move
want
on
to
to,
thank the I want to thank the chat for sticking with us. Like you guys are amazing.
yeah,
Um,
I'm
thank
so
you
sorry.
for sticking by. And as your prize, you all get blowjobs. Uh, y'all get blowjobs from Brienne.
Was your vote Rhaegal, Micah's kid? Yeah.
No, Makar's older brother.
Oh yeah, because
He
that's
was
an
third in line.
yeah, that was an interesting character. Rhaegal, the crazy, basically the crazy Targaryen, right?
Oh, thank you for adding that. How could I forget? Yeah, his whole life people just called him crazy because he would be dancing naked in the
Yeah,
Red Keep.
yeah. No, he was probably yeah. But the one case of actual like whenever people say that the incest didn't have any negative effects, I'm like, well, Rhaegal is like so clearly. Do you know what I mean? So clearly, the crazy, you know. Um, but anyway, my
Wait,
next
hold
one.
on. A possum says I'm a lesbian. I would like pie, please. You get what you get. It's a blowjob. I have to deal with it too. I have to deal with it too. But all right. The next reject.
I always forget that you birthed an actual dragon. That
Yeah,
takes deal. That's amazing.
whatever.
So just to have a quick brief recap, I brought up Vaegon the Dragonless. You brought up Visenya and Maegor. I brought up Sarah. You brought up Rhaegal. These are all
Maegelle
major. Oh, I see. I've heard it pronounced Maegelle as well. It's definitely Maegelle. Yeah.
or whatever. No,
Yeah.
you can pronounce George says you can pronounce it however you want.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Maybe the chat could list out of those because we're not really listing them. But if the chat wants to list like which ones the rejects, that's up to them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the next one for me is interesting because it stretches the definition a little bit. Now, Duncan the Small was Aegon the Fifth's first son, first kid. Um, he's the only character on this list who we could have had Aemon, the Maester, at the wall, but this character, Duncan the Small, is particularly interesting because he abdicates. Go on.
You have a little note here. If you have something in the notes, I just want to read it because it was funny. He says, "I don't want to know how he got that nickname." Duncan the Small. It's like, bitch, y'all wouldn't be calling me that.
Just for the sake of the viewers, me and Nettles have been writing and contributing notes for the past week and a half, so there's been some funny stuff. I love it. I love it. So
Carry
yeah,
on.
Duncan. He was born in 220, somewhere between 220 and 224. Fire and Blood. The internet says at least because it'd be in Fire and Blood Part 2. But I was amazed how the Maesters didn't know exactly. Surely when Fire and Blood 2 comes out, we get Duncan the Small's actual birthday. Um, Named by his father after his lifelong friend and mentor, Sir Duncan the Tall. The reason he's on this list, Duncan the Small, is because he abdicates the throne. He essentially refuses it in favor of love for a very interesting character, Jenny of Old Stones. Obviously reminiscent of Edward, George's big brother, I think in the 1920s, who also abdicated the throne for Wallace Simpson, who was played by Eve Best, who plays Rhaenys Targaryen. Just for any trivia there for anyone who's interested. So what I found fascinating was Duncan the Small was almost the second coming of Baelor Breakspear. He was considered to be a great option for the throne. He was a great warrior. He competed in tourneys. He even beat a very young Barristan when Barristan was a kid. That's how Barristan got the nickname Barristan the Bold.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and then Duncan grew up, and what was interesting I found was that Aegon the Fifth didn't want his kids to marry. He basically Aegon the Fifth was trying to set up political unions for his kids because
He
Aegon the
probably
Fifth.
just didn't like incest.
Yeah,
He's probably just like, wait, we don't have dragons. Why are we doing this?
yeah, 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 yeah. It was weird. And what I also found fascinating though was Aegon the Fifth got so pissed off when Duncan wanted to marry Jenny of Oldstones, and Aegon the Fifth made him choose. Look, you either marry someone highborn, or you don't get the throne. Which I found a bit interesting because Aegon the Fifth ended up marrying for love. Was it Betha Blackwood or Ali
Yeah,
Blackwood? So he ends up
Becca.
marrying. Yeah, yeah, he ends up marrying for love, but doesn't like it when his eldest son does. I found that a bit strange. But what it was interesting was because Duncan the Small ended up rejecting the throne, ultimately dies at Summerhall, spoiler alert, but stands as one of the few Targaryens who rejects the throne and maintains his honor in doing so, unlike the next one on this list, which after I pass it back to Nettles will tell you hers, and then I'll move on to the next one. Now, if the internet breaks off, Nettles, then I'll
No, stop speaking it into existence. No. So
okay, okay.
so when I was making my list of the rejects, I wanted to use Duncan so bad because man, he really is a reject to me because how dare you abdicate the throne? Like I was saying, like being a Targaryen means the heavy head that wears the crown. It's not you don't just get the fun part of like, oh, I get to ride a dragon. You have to take the responsibility too, the responsibility of the secret of the long night is coming. There's you have to keep the realm together so we can fight the walkers. The thing is, like, we know how long it took for the walkers to appear, but every Targaryen would have been like, maybe it's me, maybe it's this time. So it's like, yes, we know, oh, he could chill out because it wasn't his time for the walkers, but they don't know that. So it's like, any Targaryen to me who abdicates the throne or who rejects their Targaryenness is also rejecting or running away from that responsibility, which is not okay. And that's what Duncan did. And Duncan messed it all up. Like so now we are getting very close to the walkers. I mean, what is this? 100 years, maybe 75 years before our current timeline. Maybe the walkers are stirring up. We don't know how long they've been like up since they've
Well,
woken up.
if I could piggyback on that, because you make a great point, I think a
Hmm.
Targaryen who was very conscious of that was Visenya. The reason being is Rhaenys dies. The next year, Visenya is pregnant. And I think she gets pregnant because Rhaenys dies and she doesn't, and Visenya does not have faith in Aenys to rule. Imagine if Aenys is the king when the long night happens, right?
Yeah.
So Visenya was conscious of that, and she went and did some blood magic with Yuhu Alaha, and she says, "Give me a son who will be ready for the long night." Now, I don't like Maegor like the next guy, but if he's the king during the long night, I don't mind. I don't mind. I'll take that guy out of all the Targaryen kings. I mean, there's one or two who I choose instead of Maegor, but if you're choosing a warrior, if Visenya went to a blood mage and said, make me pregnant with a son who's impenetrable, invincible, unbeatable, then because she comes back for saying she doesn't say I'm pregnant with a kid. She says I'm pregnant with a son, and this son is going to be strong from birth. So
Mm.
I think Visenya was conscious of that. She thought the prophecy was imminent. She thought the White Walkers were coming then, and people like Duncan the Small, to your point, forego that entirely. Probably don't believe it's even going to happen. So they run away from that responsibility, and I think you're absolutely right.
Very un-Targaryen. So, and then look at him, Jenny of Oldstones. Look at you, fraternizing with the help, dirt. like this is not Targaryen behavior. But let me see. A Possum Place says telling everyone else in the world to fuck off to do what you want is peak Targaryenishness. Yes, I agree. Saying fuck you, I make my own rules. That's very alpha behavior, very Targaryen behavior. But this is our list. So so if we say that that's not Targaryen, then for this instance it's not Targaryen. Just speaking about Duncan the Tall or Duncan the Small.
Well, it's inarguable he rejects the throne. He
Mhm.
belongs to the list just because he rejects the throne. He's a Targaryen reject for that reason. But I do completely agree. He does what he wants, and that's very very Daemon Targaryen. It's very headstrong. But it's difficult to deny he did reject the throne, and I think that's the only reason that you and I both have him on the list.
Yeah. So and even like I went through a list of like every Targaryen and I'm like, damn, like I saw his name and I was already pissed off. I was like, this fucker. So yeah, he creates a visceral reaction. So he's definitely on that reject list because who knows? I mean, let me think. The prince who was promised. Hmm. Yeah, the prince who was promised could have still come from Jaehaerys' line, but having Duncan on the throne uh, would have at least, I think, made the war Robert's rebellion wouldn't have happened. I think, and I feel like Robert rebellion was something that it's not necessary for the long night, unless that's the only circumstance that John could be born. I don't know. We'll never know. Now we're messing with time travel. All right. Let's see. Next, I have. Excuse me. I got a bad tickle in my throat. Next, I have Rhaelle. Rhaelle Targaryen, spelled Rhaelle. Now, Rhaelle is on this list because she did not, more to a Possum Place point, um, Rhaelle did not say fuck you and do what she wanted. She did her duty. And what did she do? She married a Baratheon. Now, remember, Egg Aegon 5, he had all these children and they were supposed to be political matches so that the realm would be on his side and unborn with his crazy ideas. But it didn't work out. Everyone chose a different mate than they were supposed to, except for Rhaelle. Rhaelle did her duty. He said, "You go marry them Baratheons." She said, "Yes, Daddy." And so if she would have run away, then Stefan Baratheon wouldn't have been born, and then the three Musketeer brothers, wouldn't have been born. And without Robert, there's no Robert's Rebellion. So she's fucking with destiny. So that's why she's a reject. A Targaryen should at least put up a fight. There has to be some defiance, some fire in you. And she didn't have that. And so she caused the end of the Targaryen dynasty. It was her grandson that killed the last dragon, as they say, that killed Rhaegar, the last dragon that ended Aegon the Conqueror's work. Aegon the Conqueror started this thing. And not even Amy's, not even Maegor, not even Jaehaerys' 13 kids dying, not even a fucking civil war, not even another civil war with the Blackfyres, not even nine penny kids, nothing could fumble the Targaryen line, except Rhaella saying, "Yes, Daddy," opening her legs to Baratheon and having Stefan, who had Robert. So you ended the Targaryen line, Rhaelle. No one else but you. And if that's not a rejection of your blood, if it's not a rejection of everything your ancestors built, I don't know what is. Let me see what you guys are saying. This doesn't sound like winning, marrying a Baratheon swine. Maybe the real Targaryens were the people we rejected along the way. She's fucking with destiny. Yeah. I mean, You know how we feel about prophecy in House Targaryen. Like, don't mess with it. So, next we have Aegor Rivers. Now, it pains me to even say his name because, as you guys know, I fucking hate Blackfyres. Like, um, let me just get on my fucking soapbox. What the king says is what the king says. What the king has written down, that's what is fucking law. You cannot, and not even the king, any ruler, even parents. Like, parents are many kings and queens in their household and their king. What they say goes. And you can't use feelings like, oh, I think they meant this. Like, if your mom says, be home by 10, I want you home safe, you can't be like, well, she did say home, be home by 10, and she wants me home safe. But I'm safe at this club. They've got security. So I'm going to just stay out since I'm safe. And I know she wouldn't mind. And I know she's probably sleeping. So I'm just going to keep on partying and I'll come home at 2 a.m. Like, you know that you can't just make up your own rules going off of what your mom might have been feeling, like inferring. That's what I feel like the Blackfyres supporters are doing. People are like, oh well, it's because he gave Aegon the sword. Wait, I'm messing things up. It's because he was who they fuck. I'm drawing a blank. Wait, who was the brother that started all this mess? Um. Oh my gosh. Um. What was his name? Damon. Oh my god. Damon the demon. Right. Sometimes we have these moments when we have so many elements involved. And by elements, I mean that. Yep. Yep. Things are happening here. But back to my rant. Um I'm talking about I started on Aegor Rivers and why I hate Blackfyres. So, yeah, if your dad said, like, here's the thing is Aegon the Unworthy was a glutton. He was not afraid to say what was on his mind. He said what was on his mind, and that was his son. Like, he's not shy. If he wanted Damon to have the throne, he would have said it. Just like Viserys said, I want Rhaenyra to have the throne. Come on, lords, I want you to bow because that's who I want to have the throne. He never did. So Blackfyres have no fucking leg to stand on. And another thing is, you guys should have been. Maybe it's because I have like a scarcity mindset. You should have just been happy that you were legitimized. Like, what the fuck do you want? How much? It's like if you give a mouse a cookie, they want the fucking milk. Okay, you were legitimized. That means your father acknowledged that you were his. That means, like, the stain of bastardy is off of you. That feeling of I'm an orphan is off of you. You're fucking legitimized, and that's not good enough. He gave y'all money. He gave y'all castles. He gave y'all some fucking swords, and it wasn't good enough. Y'all went and started a war. Aegor, he's not even good enough to be on the list of rejects.
I echo everything you were saying.
Oh no,
It's
it's
still.
doing it.
Oh,
Yeah,
geez. Okay, hold on.
dang it. What did you do last time? Do that again. This is crazy. But yeah, Apostle Place says this sounds like a confession from Nettles. And Terra Incognita says, I thought you said only Targs. Yeah, but the Blackfyres should have never been Blackfyres. Like, their father legitimized them, and gave them, and that would have given them the name, and they chose to reject that name. What I'm talking about is Terra Incognita said we said only Tarks.
How
So
does this sound?
having it still sounds bad. What did you do last time when
I,
it
I'm, I,
worked?
I swear I'm doing the same thing every time. Hold on.
Is it just chance then? We're just left up to chance.
Yeah. How about now?
Still bad.
Still bad.
Actually getting worse.
Now? Still bad?
It's still bad. Maybe it's that room. Anyways, Cody says, I honestly don't believe Daemon wanted to rebel. I think it was pretty much pressured by all the noble lords who were done coddling to Dorne. Okay, I'm upset because what do you mean coddling to Dorne? Dorne doesn't ask for anything. Dorne didn't say, didn't demand anything. They just exist and people hate them. So I don't know about that, but I'm pondering what you're saying. You said, I honestly don't believe Daemon wanted to rebel. And I'm with you there. I think this bitch ass motherfucker that we're talking about right now, Aegor Rivers Targaryen Blackfyre, um, pressured him. He might have even blackmailed him. He might have even lied to him. A lie can change your destiny. I mean, look at Jaime's lie to Tyrion about Tysha, like, and what that does to brothers. So imagine if there's a similar lie that Aegor is able to use as leverage to manipulate Daemon. But Daemon still doesn't get a pass. Yes, you were manipulated. Yes, you were lied to. But at the end of the day, bitch, it's you with that sword. Like, nobody can manipulate me that much. At some point, I'm going to be like, I don't want it. I don't want it. Be like John. John said, no, nobody's making me sit in that chair. But no, so that's what I have to say to that. Alex B says, Aegon IV gave Daemon the Sword of Kings and started the rumors of Daeron II being illegitimate. He was playing with chaos. I don't believe it was Aegon IV that started that rumor. Was it? Was it? Prove it. Prove it. Even if it was rumors, okay? If you believe in the rumor, then say, that's not my son. I banish thee from the lands. Like he, then if so, and the thing about the sword, here is the thing. All right. The sword doesn't mean that you're king. The sword means that you're a good fighter. There's people who are good readers, good fighters, good lovers. Like people have different talents. And as parents, you're supposed to recognize that your children have different talents and you're supposed to nourish that, right? Like you're driving one kid to soccer practice, you're driving one kid to band practice. When you realize that your children have different needs, then you give them to those needs. So if I have a kid who's doing taekwondo and all this stuff, I'm going to give him a sword. If I have a kid who's not good at taekwondo, I'm not going to give him a sword. Like that's the thing. And especially, and here's another thing. If I know that I'm Aegon the Unworthy, and let's just say Aegon the Unworthy loved Daemon. That was his favorite son, but he knew he couldn't break the law. By giving him the throne. So the consolation prize was the sword. Why doesn't anyone spin that narrative? Like, I love you so much. I wish I could give this to you, but it's not yours. It's your brother's birthright. But hey, to show how much I love you and to show how much I'm proud of you for being such a good warrior, here is the sword. Like, why can't it be that? So, to Alex V, to your comment saying that Aegon IV gave Daemon the sword of kings and started the rumors of Daeron II being illegitimate. I hear you, but I have a different spin. Let's see. Bro has a radioactive isotope in there. I'm concerned. Daemon was susceptible to flattery. Maybe that's what it was, three-eyed magpie. Daemon wanted glory. Yeah, but like, man, glory's fucking dangerous. Glory is fucking dangerous. No matter what it is. Cody Lackney says, I'm not justifying LOL. I'm just saying he was probably pressured more than he wanted and probably loved his brother. A lie can make your destiny like Littlefinger. True.
How does it sound?
Bad. Still bad.
I'm really
Let me see. It's
I,
okay.
I tried moving my router. I tried wrapping my
What about
partner.
being in a different room?
Yeah, give that a bash. Hold on. How do I sound now?
Still bad.
I'm really sorry. What should we do? Because this seems to
We
be
can.
an.
Okay. I think you should go out and have StreamYard and come back, or of the link and come back in. But this time, just the mic.
Just a mic. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Be right back.
And then I'll. Yeah. Aegon IV's only crime was supporting his son's hobbies. Right, Maester of Tinfoil. Like, I'm sorry he was a good dad to one of his kids. And that's something y'all, like, this generation, you guys like to paint everything one stroke. You can be a bad dad to this kid and a good dad to this kid. Sorry, it's favoritism. It's not fair to the kid that's suffering. But that's why some people, especially when there's like age gaps and like sibling relationships, there's one sibling who's like a doctor, who's accomplished, who doesn't need to go to therapy, who's well rounded. And then there's the kid that has everything, and they have the same set of parents, grew up in the same house. And it's because, I don't know, sometimes parents have favorites, people, the kids that they bond with more. And people who try to lie and say, oh, they don't have favorites, like, I don't know, you can lie to yourself, but you can't lie to Nettles. All right, Ash, let's hear you.
How do I sound?
Oh my gosh, it still sounds bad.
Oh,
Hold on,
Christ.
let me say something.
How do I sound now? I think I might. Hold on.
All right, it still sounds bad. I was trying to see if I turned off my camera or if it would like use less internet. But it still
I'm
sounds.
really.
I know it's not your fault. I know you would. You wrote a lot. I know you want to do this. You did a lot of work.
I don't want to bother the viewers, so should I? Do you want me to just leave and take part in the chat? I really don't mind.
Okay, can you type that fast? I mean, okay, yeah, okay, do that. I guess.
All right, darling.
All right. Okay. So Ash is muted now, and he's just gonna take part in the chat. So let's see. I want to see what you guys are saying. Aeon Fighter, okay. Dragons, Taekwondo, and swords. These are all a man needs in life, nothing more. Um, Ash does live in a Valyrian steel line fortress, so the maesters can't work his brainwaves. That be messing with the phone too. Maybe Aegon didn't love Daemon that much. He was just angry at Nerys and Aemon and Daeron, especially late in life. Let me ponder that. Okay, I could see that. Three-eyed Magpie said that, like, basically Aegon poured into Daemon to spite Nerys and Aemon and Daeron. But still, like, he didn't spite him enough to, take the throne from him. Will there be a Blackfyre rebellion debate? Daemon versus Daeron, who is the right king? Um, I hate Blackfyre so much. I don't even want to put them on one of my debates. But maybe I can be convinced. You're still a bad dad overall if you're bad to any of them. Yes, the possum plays. Yes. But I'm just the type of person that I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like, I take whatever good I can get from you, and then I'll talk about your faults. I wonder if the quote from Bloodraven about the brother he loved was actually Daemon. I think it falls in line with George R. R. Martin's thesis on the story, The Heart in Conflict with Itself. I think that's what the entire fandom thinks. That, of course, the brother he loved was Daemon, because um, you wouldn't talk about him if it was widely known that you loved him, right? Like, you wouldn't say the brother I loved was someone that you've profess your love to already. Aegor. Okay, so we're still on Aegor, and we have Ash Wilson in the chat. Aegor's a shit. But I'm just going to read what we have here. So let's talk about Barbara Bracken, because without Barbara, there is no Aegor Rivers. So you guys know he was born in 172 AC to Aegon the Fourth from Barbara Bracken. Like, first of all, Barbara Bracken, like Aegon the Unworthy, the most unworthy thing that you ever did was put your dick into a bracken. Like, come on, man. Like, have some standards, okay? Like, that's like, I don't know, who's a person that you guys would describe like would be like Barbara Bracken in our times. For some reason, I was about to say that's like putting your dick in Pamela Anderson, but that was mean. I don't know why I thought that. But Barbara Bracken, she was known to have quite the rack. Okay, all right. She was known to have. Oh man. Okay, let me stop doing that. That was a sign. Sheep stealer, you've got to go away now because that was a sign that you're hurting my arm with your talons. Um, she was known to have quite the rack. However, with Aegon going so far as to naming a set of mountains after her, while Barbara may have been flattered by such a gesture, Melissa Blackwood, who the mountains had previously been honored after, was reportedly repulsed, though she was smart enough not to express such a sentiment around the king. Anyways, yeah, because it's kind of like when you know how girls like when like you do stuff with a man and then he cheats on you and then the other girl comes back and it's just like, oh, that's why I took him from you, and they're like, yeah, do you like how I taste? It's like you're getting my sloppy seconds, you know. I know you've all been through that. So I'm sure Melissa was like, girl, you're bragging, but do you like how I taste? Anyway, Melissa maintained the positive relations at court. She still had friends. She was the popular girl around court, while Barbara did not, because even with all that money, Barbara could not buy class. It's so Kardashian. That's what Angels Weep said. Okay, that's cool. Putting your dick in Barbara Bracken is like putting your dick into Kim Kardashian. Yes, 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 yes. That's exactly what it's like. Um, so yeah, anyways, I'm reading directly into Ash Wilson's notes. So basically everything I'm going to say is coming from him. When I look at you guys, I'll make my little asides, but I just want to give him credit that this brilliance is not just coming from me. But yeah, this is relevant because it led to Melissa's son Brendan being welcome to an extent, raised in King's Landing, all that good stuff, while Barbara's son Aegor was practically ostracized at Stonehenge. So it was this type of preferential treatment that Aegor understandably despised. So basically, yeah, Aegor Rivers, I fucking hate your guts, but if you're the jealous type, I could see why you were so fucking salty. And it sounds like the feeling was mutual. I mean, Brendan didn't like you, bitch. That's why he killed your ass. But that's my little theory, but whatever. It sounds like the feeling was mutual. Brendan goes on to say in Dance of the Dragons, we each have our ghosts, Bran. I have my own, a brother that I loved, a brother that I hated, and a woman I desired. So yeah, definitely hated. I think Aegor was the brother that Brendan hated. So this shows that despite over a century of time passing, Brendan still had hatred in his heart. Like some of us, like we might say, I might have hated you at 15, but at age 45, I don't remember why I hate you. I don't hate you anymore. Like time heals the wound. And like I'm over it. I might say I used to hate you. I might say we used to have a tiff, but do I feel that feeling? No, I don't. But Brendan did. After 100 years, he still considered him the brother he hated. It never changed. Even some people, you might hate them and then they die, and then you love them because they're dead, and now you remember the good times. Like still, he hated him. So as a result, not only did Aegor isolate himself from the family, he set out to destroy it from the inside, which is very vengeful, you know? Think about the type of person that does that. I believe he whispered poison into the ear of his brother Daemon, whom would go on to be named Daemon Blackfyre. Aegor may be the only member on this list who was rejected by the Targaryens, who then went on to fight against, war with, and kill Targaryens. He's openly homophobic, refusing to support Daemon's son, Daemon Blackfyre II, on account of his nighttime proclivities. A seedy way of saying he hated John the Fiddler for being who he was. He's like one of those guys who says stupid shit like, I'm not homophobic. I just don't want to see guys holding hands in public. I have nothing against gays. It's just I don't like seeing straight couples hold hands. So why would I like seeing gay guys hold hands? Because they're in love? Like, come on. Well, that's good for them. They can be in love in their own house, like, all that type of stuff. So, anyways, Ah, anyway, yeah, Aegor scores very highly on the reject scale because he did not volunteer to be isolated or exiled like the Targaryens did that. He acted like a desperate ex on so many occasions, and I believe he was the real drive behind the Blackfyre Rebellion. I think we all kind of do. Ostracize but is still from your family, and he'll return with an army to take everything you've ever owned. You know what he reminds me of? He's a male Cersei. Like there are, and I'm sure you guys have met people who like just never fucking forgive a slight. It's like, oh, like I said, I've lived so many lives. I remember I used to go out clubbing with guys, like hood dudes, and like they wore their new sneakers to the club. A guy stepped on his sneakers and he pulled out a gun. Like that's happened like 7 times in front of me where like I'm with somebody and someone steps on their shoe and they either pull out a gun, they start a fight or brawl, and we get kicked out of the club. I've been kicked out of so many clubs for different reasons, but that's one of them. Like, so that's who Bitter still reminds me of, like a Cersei, someone who's like, even if you step on my shoe, it could be a small thing as like, you called me sister. Like, I love the Game of Thrones show, like that scene where it seems like Cersei's trying to be nice to Marjorie and she goes to see her. And Marjorie's like, oh, I just fucked Tom and it was so good. I love Tom and it was so good. And you see Cersei's trying to be nice to Marjorie, and then Marjorie's like, oh, I don't know, like you're gonna be a grandmother soon, and she calls her sister again. And then Cersei looks, she gives this look that lets you know that that's when the wildfire plot was hatched. It's like, all right, you're going down. Everyone's going down. The entire house. I told you not to call me sister. You did it, and like, yeah, that's how. That's what Aegor is like to me, like a Cersei. Like you, no slight will be forgiven, forgotten. I mean, yeah, you guys know this. So let me see what the chat thinks. Someone said the Grand Tetons, the great tits in French. Okay. Boobs. Nettles is explicit, lol. Well, please go and read the description for Nettles. It says foul mouth. That's why I knew that this was me, because I've been foul mouth my whole life. I remember when I was a kid, like in 5th grade, and there'd be a substitute teacher, and they'd be taking attendance, and I would say penis, and then like hide, and the whole class would like laugh. I'd be like vagina. Like I would just say foul things as a child because it got laughs and it got me friends. I was voted the class clown in high school. um, Carla, let's see. So your great last night, your last great night says, I think he may have had a romantic connection to Damon as well. He was only linked to Sheer Sea Star and no other woman, even though she was. And I don't see Brendan being a simp. Are you saying that you think that Brynden, Bloodraven, was romantically connected to Damon, and that's going by like the brother he loved, like maybe truly loved, like romantically loved? Is that what you mean? um Carl Karsnark is German, and he says, I can hold a grudge like a mofo. I think it's a German thing. Okay, I can identify with that. But some place says, it's a club, you're gonna get stepped on. I know. I'm like, it's just shoes. Don't wear your expensive shoes. Shoes are gonna get creased and stepped on. People would, yeah, yeah. Yep. I've hung out with people that would pull out guns for stepping on shoes. I know a girl who like woke me up 3 o'clock in the morning to be like, can you come with me? Oh, my guy's cheating on me. I just know it. I know he's cheating on me. Okay, let's go to his house. Wakes me up. We drive to his house at 3 in the morning, and then she takes a Snickers bar and puts it in his gas tank. I'm like, do you even have proof that he's cheating? No. But just the idea that he would slight me, the fact that he's making me feel so insecure, he deserves to have the Snickers in his ice in his gas tank. Like, I know people. Does that sound like your alley, Carl Karsnark, when you can hold a grudge? Um, they were fierce rivals for Shiera, and Aegor took Bloodraven's eye out. That hate doesn't go away. That's a good point, Alex B. Why did I forget that, he did take his eye? And we know, like, with Aemond on the show, like, that's not something you forgive. Even if you get a dragon for it. The Grudge is a great Tool song. Revenge is a dish best served cold, very cold. But shouldn't Targaryens serve the revenge hot? Ash, my guest host, he's warging me right now, and he's telling me to tell you guys that because Aegor was legitimized, I'm pretty sure Aegor went from Aegor Rivers to Aegor Targaryen. Daemon went to Daemon Blackfyre. He's still called Aegor Rivers, though weirdly. I think it's because like once you're stuck with the name, you're stuck with the name, even though like legally, you're legitimized. Angels weep. I wish we knew more about Shira. She is mysterious. I know. George is really good at writing dynamic women. Guest says, we did the bananas in the tailpipe when a friend got cheated on. It was great. Hey, shit happens. It's a free world. Like, you could do whatever you want to do, but there's a consequence for every action. So I don't feel bad. Don't be dirty. Dirty things won't happen to you. But of course, you can live a good life and have like a string of bad luck. So life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. Okay, so I had on here as a reject Targaryen, Jon Snow. And it's evident now, Jon Snow does not have the Targaryen last name, but he is in the show shown to be someone who was legitimate and who would have had the Targaryen last name. So we'll see what the book tells us. But Jon Snow has a fucking wolf. If that's not anti-Targaryen, I don't know what is. Not only does he have a wolf, not only was he raised with the wolves, the Starks, but in the show, every time they try to give him a throne, I don't want it. That's not very Targaryen. Targaryens kill their kin. Targaryens kill their kin for the throne. Like, so John's not even willing to do that. Look who's back. And then, like,
How do I sound?
still bad. But if you have something to say, you can still say it.
Sorry, no, it's okay. My phone had cooled down, so I thought I'd try again. But it's okay. I'll leave. My bad.
Bye. Sorry. Opossum Place says he didn't even have blonde hair. Dark hair? Blasphemy. I know. Like, I'm black, and at least I had the decency to have the blonde hair. Just kidding. But yeah. So yeah, Jon Snow, a Targaryen reject. Now that one's just a fun one. You know we love Jon Snow around here, but I thought I would mention him. So I'll tell you, I'm gonna start wrapping up this stream, but I will let you know the honorable mentions that we had on our list of the Targaryen rejects. Bloodraven, just because the fandom loves him, because we know him. We know about his destiny and what he will become. But being an albino kid, even though paleness was preferred, we blood purity, we love pale people, but come on, an albino, red eyes, that's not. Let me not say let me not go too far with the jokes, but you're gonna get rejected in medieval times if you're albino. And then the birthmark, and then you're weird, man. You're just a weirdo. But he got that sword. He did get Dark Sister, so he's not that bad. Carl Stark says we should all have Targ wigs for our weekly chat. Focuses the thoughts. Tarek Incognito says Viserys, one of the last two Targs, and Danny rejected him. Yes. Yes, that's so funny. Viserys is actually next on that list of honorable mention. I didn't put him on the official list just because it's too obvious. It's like he wasn't even rejected. It's just no one likes him. Like, come on. Um, so yeah, definitely Viserys. Like you touch well, I was about to say the reason I hate him is because you touch your sister's titty. Don't do that. But that is very Targaryen. So I can't hate him for touching his sister's titty and twisting the nipple. No, I can hate him for that. Okay. I got it. It's okay to touch your sister's titty. You're a Targaryen. It's not okay for you to twist the nipple and cause her pain. Come on, you sadist. That's why I hate him. Like, so yeah, Viserys. But going back to um we also have Aenar the Exile. That's another obvious one. Um, because he was exiled, obviously. He was I guess he wasn't anti-Targaryen, but he was more anti-Valyrian by with his rejection, I guess. But y'all should have died with the rest of the Valyrians, and you took your happy asses to Westeros to fuck things up. So you're a reject. Um, Aenys is kind of King Aenys. You're King Abomination. You're literally only the second king, and you're fucking it up. You're letting the faith come and spit on our faces. Like, come on. So Aenys, honorable mention, reject. And then yeah. Sorry, I'm like reading the notes. Okay. Yeah, so there you have it. Those were the honorable mentions. And just to go through the rejects that I have, just to see if there's any last notes from the chat, any Targaryens that we didn't mention that you consider rejects, or if you just want to comment on the ones that we had. But we had Aegor Rivers, hate him, hate him. Jon Snow. We had Brynden Rivers, honorable mention, of course. We had Visenya and Maegor, Septa Maegelle or Maegelle. Duncan the Small, who abdicated the throne, who spit in the face of his ancestors. Rhaelle Targaryen, who was just great, who danced naked in the Red Keep, which is something I like. Listen, take me to a nudist colony or a nudist resort. I love it. A little birthday suit action, a little dancing. I don't have anything against it, but people do. He was crazy, and then he had a stupid death by choking on a lamprey pie that the gray rats gave to him. How dare you let the gray rats trick you? Then even his kids died accidental deaths who made the throne past a fucking Maegor. Saera Targaryen, we mentioned her, sluts. We love them. The realm doesn't. The realm can't trust a loose woman. They just want to police your womb. which is what men have wanted to do since the dawn of time. And you can't fight against it, Sarah. We love you, but you're a reject. You shamed your parents. Rhaelle, I had her on there because you literally caused the end of the Targaryen line because you opened your legs. Why couldn't you be barren, Rhaelle? Why couldn't you be barren? You couldn't, could you? No. You and your fertile eggs having kids and shit. Vaegon the Dragonless, like he's the only one that got a 10 on my list as super reject Targaryen. Because I don't know. Because being called the Dragonless is just more than not having a dragon. It's a fucking insult, you know? And that's all the Targaryen rejects that we had. Thank you so much, Ash, for your brain. Thank you for these. Let me see. Ash wrote 13 pages of notes. I just wanted to let you guys know 13 pages. Thank you for 13 pages of material about these reject Targaryens. It made me laugh. I hope we were able to make you guys laugh. But thank you. And thank you, chat. So let me just scroll up to see what you guys have to say. Opossum says not without consent. What does that mean? Aenar was rejected by default. Yep. All of Valyria rejected. If Valyrians could have taken the dragons away from the Targaryens, they would have. They're like, man, fuck you guys. A lesser house. Carl Karsnark says, we mustn't forget Alejandro Targaryen, the sluttiest and therefore best of all Targaryens. He made the Dornish blush, if the rumors are to be believed. Is that a joke? Who is Alejandro Targaryen? What was Bridge Kid's name? Bridge Kid? Who? What Bridge Kid? Mayhaps. All right, cool. So that is the end of this live stream. The next stream will be a debate. It's going to be Rhaenyra versus Daenerys. Yeah, that one's going to be fun. I have all the members ready for that one, so all we have to do is schedule it. It'll be sometime next week. So stay tuned for that one. Yeah, is there really an Alejandro Targaryen? Because Alejandro is Alex in Spanish, and there's no. Are you guys talking about Alex in the chat? But anyways, yeah. Bye, and yes, join me later. Oh, it's Lady Gaga's Targaryen. It's a joke. Okay, cool. Because I'm like, wait, there's a lot of things that I don't know. There should be Alejandro. But yes, thank you guys for tuning in, and see you later. Bye.